There we go. There we go. All right. Got my OBS up and running again. Good morning and happy Friday, you guys. I had to adjust a setting in OBS real quick. My mic was not selected for whatever reason. So how has everybody been over the last week? My goodness, you guys, when I tell you this story, it is going to blow your mind as to how suddenly computer issues can arise. Good morning, Dusty, getting first and second. Congratulations! So, not this past Tuesday, but the Tuesday before, I come upstairs after choir rehearsal, right? And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna check my Discord before I go to bed. And I can't turn on my computer. Like, my computer shows that it's on, but I'm not seeing, nothing that's plugged in is showing any signs of being plugged in. My computer won't wake up, the displays aren't coming on, my keyboard isn't reacting, my mouse isn't reacting, nothing. And so, I do what a lot of, basic understanding of computers says. I check all my cords, they're all plugged in, turn the monitor off and on. It says no display detected. Interesting. Or no signal detected, sorry. I'm like, interesting. Let me try power cycling it, because sometimes that does its thing. So I power cycle, it doesn't change anything. So I'm like, okay, well, let's try this then. So I turn the switch off and on in the back. I'm checking the power cord to make sure that everything is working correctly and looks right. Everything looks fine. So I turn the switch back on and press the power button. It flashes on and then off, all in a split second. So I'm like, that's pointing to a potential power supply issue. That definitely seems power supply-y to me. And so I asked my dad the next morning, I'm like, hey, tonight can you help me check my computer? And this is what I think it is, here's why. He's like, yeah, we'll check it at some point in the next couple days. And I'm like, okay, perfect. So I get home Wednesday, we have to rush out and don't have time that night. So then I get home Thursday from all my events on Thursday. We come up, we look at it, and he goes, yep, based on that, I agree with your assessment. It could be the power supply. I'm also thinking it could be the motherboard. And I'm like, oh, that sounds expensive. And so the next morning, because by this point it's 9 o'clock at night, we're both exhausted. And so we put the case back together, because on Tuesday I just did not have the energy to go looking in the case and everything. And so I was like, you know what, and he's like, yeah, we should probably leave this to the professionals. Yep, totally agree with your assessment. Let's do it. We get everything put back together, and the next morning we get, he looks up the name of a mobile repair company. And I call that company, leave a message. Within half an hour, I get a call back and explain the situation, what I think it is, the troubleshooting things I've tried, whole thing. Well, the earliest we can get to you is Monday morning. Let me check and make sure that I have somebody home, because I'm usually at work at that time. So my mom's able to be there and let him in and everything. So I leave her a note with everything, symptoms, troubleshooting that we've done, etc., just to cover our bases, just in case there was anything that, maybe didn't make it into the ticket for whatever reason. He gets there, early, mind you. I get a text. They told us not to expect them till like quarter after, maybe 10:30. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. And so then I get a text from mom at about 9:45. Hey, he's already here. And I'm like, perfect, I'll take it. And within about an hour, yep, it was a power supply issue. You've got a new power supply. Everything's working great. And so then it was just a matter of me coming upstairs and getting everything all plugged back in. So now it's working and we can play our games. Yes, Dusty, for sure. Rest in peace, Chuck Norris. That one hits hard for me because Chuck Norris was such a great guy. Like, such an example of how we should be as Christians. Good morning, Mad Mamas. How you doing? How you doing? So I am not sure at all what we want to play today. So we're going to say, what should we play today? Ooh, I need to check my bracket after day one. Let's see. That is a good question because there were a lot of upsets. Listening while driving, drive safe. Let's see what we got here. My picks. I have 13 points in one and 11 points in the other. Let's see. Oh man. Yep, there were quite a few upsets. Yep. Oh boy. As you went to bed, there was 0.09 good ones left. Oh man. That actually makes a whole lot of sense considering where, like how many upsets there were and things like that. Dreamlight Valley. Let's see, what else can we play? What do we want? What do we want to fill out our thingy thing? Oh, there's already an update for that. Let me go ahead and do that. Yeah, I think that should cover pretty well what we want to play today. We'll give this a 10-minute timer. What would you guys like to play today? We have Star Trek Voyager, Dreamlight Valley, Indiana Jones. Did none of the others make it in? Huh. Let's, I guess, end that poll real quick. Let's try again, just to make sure. Whoop, accidentally turned on caps lock. What should we play today? Star Trek Voyager, Dreamlight Valley, Indiana Jones. "10 minutes, start the poll." There we go. We'll go with those three. All right. So let's go ahead and do our devotional today. This one comes from Experiencing God by Henry and Richard Blackaby. This one is called "Why Do You Doubt?" The verse for the day is Matthew 8:26. "But he said to them, 'Why are you fearful, you of little faith?' Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm." It is by faith that God's mighty power is released into the life of a Christian. Hebrews 11:33 through 35. The fact that you have doubts indicates that you do not know God as you should. If your prayer life is infiltrated with doubts, you have denied yourself the greatest single avenue of power that God has made available to you. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. Hebrews 11:6. Wait a minute. This I completely don't agree with. God never comforts you in your doubt? I think he does offer comfort. He does meet you where you're at. That I can get behind. Jesus consistently rebuked those who would not believe him. Now, see, I don't know. He had revealed enough of himself for his disciples to have believed him in their time of need. God wants to build your understanding of him until your faith is sufficient to trust and obey him in each situation. Mark 9:23 through 25. The moment you turn to him with a genuine commitment to rid yourself of doubt, God will match your doubt with a revelation of himself that can convince you of his faithfulness. When Thomas doubted, Jesus revealed himself to him in such a way that every doubt vanished. Good morning, soul! Does this mean that we can add Color X Malice to our list of games to play today? Happy Friday! You can only resolve your lack of faith in God's presence. He must reveal himself in such a way that any doubt you might have is removed. Jesus did this with his disciples. He involved them in a consistent, growing relationship with himself. Jesus took them through teaching to small miracles, to large miracles, and to resurrection. Jesus knew that the redemption of the world rested on his disciples believing him. What does God want to do in the lives of those around you that wait upon your... What does God want to do in the lives of those around you that waits upon your trust in him and the removal of your doubts? All right, in that case, we'll end this poll, because I know what we're playing today. Let me grab my controllers real quick. Because I had initially not planned on... I had initially not planned on playing Color X Malice today, because I wasn't sure if you would be here, and I know how you want to be able to be here for all the Color X Malice fun. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I do agree with a good majority of that, of what was said in there. Good morning, Ice Climber Kirby! How's it going? So, we've decided on our game. I wasn't sure what to play because I wasn't sure if a certain someone would be here that had requested that if I continue a game, that she wanted to be here for it. So I was like, I want to make sure she's here before I even add this to the list. Hey, there we go. So then in that case, we'll do Star Trek after. We'll do Star Trek after, because that's the only vote that I've gotten so far, is is for Star Trek. I would say, in regards to the Steve-O... Oh, it was? Let's see. Let's view the results. Oh, you know what? You're right. There was one vote for Indy that came in at the last second. So it's 2 votes for Indy. We're going to play Indy. Woohoo! So, I think that, because the one sentence that kind of rubbed me the wrong way was that God never comforts you in your doubt, but rather rebukes it. I think that God is big enough to handle those questions. That yes, he kind of goes, you of little faith, but also, hey, I understand, Like, maybe it's because of what I think of, like, what I picture with comfort is kind of that meeting you where you're at and saying, I understand why you feel this way. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't quite know how I feel about that, because we see throughout Scripture that God is a comforter. God is our refuge and strength. Yeah, he doesn't want us to doubt. He wants us to believe in him. But questions kind of come with that territory, Like, there comes a point where you're going to be like, man. And there have been times where that's been me. And like he says in there, that's when God has revealed himself to me and been like, hey, let me show you who I am. So I don't know. I think maybe it's just my understanding of what comfort is. But I think he does, in a way, I think he uses those revelations to comfort us in our doubt. That is true. You can wrestle with doubt and not accept that comfort. That is a good point. But that doesn't mean that comfort isn't there. Exactly. And our stubbornness as humans. Yeah. Exactly. You're doing great. You just moved to the big city. Now you get all the local antenna channels. So there's always something good on TV with channels like MeTV, Toons, Catchy Comedy, and Antenna TV. You wish you liked 2020's PBS Kids shows more than you do, but you miss 2000 shows like Arthur, Dragon Tales, Clifford, Clifford the Big Red Dog 2000, and Between the Lions, not to mention the older shows like Reading Rainbow, Shining Time, Station Square, One TV, etc. Yeah, that's a good point, Kirby, that there's a definite difference in TV today versus when we were growing up. Ooh, do I have Tennessee losing today? I don't know. That is true also, Mad Mamas, that there is a difference between questions and doubt. That is true. Let's dive a little deeper into that. Ah. Okay. So questioning God is rooted in love and trust, and it's saying, God, why is this happening? Why are you so far away? Versus doubting, which is he doesn't exist. Or that he doesn't care. It's more the root of where that statement is coming from. Is it coming from love and trust, or is it coming from rebellion and unbelief? that does make sense. Because doubting God involves challenging his character, goodness, and promises. Okay. And questioning God reflects a desire to understand him and his will better, especially during hardship. And he welcomes questions when they come from humility, trust, and a genuine desire to know him. Okay. So yeah, it definitely seems to come from, like, it definitely seems to come from more of a heart posture behind the questions or the statements. That definitely makes sense. Could also be individualized to a point. Sometimes he lets us wrestle with those doubts, like he did with Jacob. His form of comfort may be his presence with us in the midst of that, and a person might not always see that or recognize it as comfort. That is a good point, too. Yeah, it's definitely seems to point to a heart posture thing, where it's like, okay, Lord, I trust you, but I don't understand where you're going with this, but I want to, versus doubt being, I don't understand this, I'm writing you off completely. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. Because my first thought when you said letting us wrestle is the part in Genesis where it talks about Jacob wrestling with God, and I'm like, dude, how many times do we do that? Are we going like, I don't understand, and he's like, but I still love you. Ah. You know, like, how many times does that happen for us? And so, yeah, I think, yeah, that's that's definitely the part that I'm kind of wrestling with is, and it helps having that picture of the heart attitude difference, because it's like if any time that we asked a question he was like meh, 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 that wouldn't be the God that I know and serve. But he also knows our heart attitude. And so he knows if we're coming with a genuine desire to understand and get to know him better, and we're just like, I don't understand, but at the end of the day, I know you're in control, then that's good. That's natural. That's healthy. Whereas if we come with like anger and doubts as far as even his very existence, if those questions lead to us doubting his existence, then that's not good. Yeah. I think that's something I can kind of, yeah, I think that's something I can kind of get behind. I'm like, alrighty, sounds good, Dusty, enjoy. And I do like that it says he wants to build your understanding of him until your faith is sufficient to trust and obey in each situation. I love that because it's true, and because we're on a faith journey, which means that we are every day getting closer and closer to him, becoming more and more that person who understands him better and therefore understands who we're supposed to be. So that adds up too with what we know of God's character. You got a Nintendo Switch 2 back in January? That is so cool. And that's also that it was on the 7-month anniversary. That's cool. I like that a lot. That's really cool. One of these days it would be interesting. But at the same time, I'm like, but the Switch 2 is so expensive, and I'm not 100% sure that I'm behind the way that Nintendo is doing a lot of their business practices as far as, like moving away from physical media and things like that. Like, the good thing about, like, the one pro to the virtual game card versus the physical game card is that when I travel, I just have to remember to bring my Switch. You know what I mean? Like, that's the one good thing, is that it frees up room in my suitcase as far as that. But at the same time, there's just something about having that physical media. And I also just am not a big fan of the price gouging that it seems like multiple people, like companies, are doing. Like, Sony itself has admitted that it's doing the whole what's it called? Gigi! Good morning, Gigi! Like, I used to love Nintendo. I really did used to love Nintendo. That was, like, my thing. Like, you can see right back here, I've got my Switch, and I have a Wii. You can see, you know, like, I've got GameCube games. I've got my Game Boy somewhere back there, you know? Like, I don't know, it's just, it seems like price gouging. Dynamic pricing, that's what I was thinking of. Like, so many companies are doing this dynamic pricing thing, and I'm like, I don't think I can get behind that, you know? And yeah, the re-releasing older games at such a steep price and keeping games at such a steep price for so long, you know? I don't know. It's $450 and $25 is about $300 back in 2017, and it's being speculated that the Switch 2 will go up this year. Great! As if it wasn't expensive enough. And, like, even the 300, I'm like, I don't know. Well, then again, I did recently, you know, like, most consoles are about that much. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. And same thing with the Disney huge price spikes. I'm like, I don't know that I can get behind it. I really don't. I completely agree, Gigi. Nintendo was great as the NES, SNES, and Game Boy. I would even say going up into the GameCube and Wii era, they were great. But now the current pricing has just gotten to be so much and so high. And don't get me wrong, I completely understand and respect that a lot of time, talent, and effort went into making these consoles, went into making the games, and those people, they deserve compensation for their work. That I can totally agree. But by the same token, I apply what the... I would apply what I also feel about the airlines to this. You could lower airline prices, and now granted, this is wishful thinking, this is idyllic, perfect world. You could lower airline prices, sell more seats, and still make that profit. You could have more full planes going to different destinations. And this is definitely wishful thinking on my part. This is like idyllic world, you know, people thinking, you know, all the, you know. So the same thing applies, like if we apply that same principle to the gaming industry, you lower the prices of games, you're selling the game, like more copies of that game, and therefore making about the same. You know? And looking at how much the Japanese region locked model is by comparison, I don't know much about that, but I can only imagine. You might be able to get a Switch 1 for $20 at Goodwill thrift stores for 20 like how it is with Wii's. And the good thing about the Wii is it is backwards compatible with the GameCube. And that's why I keep it, because I have so many GameCube games that I grew up loving. And I want to still be able to play them. And so I do. If you compare a Switch to a Steam Deck, there's little in comparison. Makes you wonder how Switch 2 exists at its price point. Like, that is a fair assessment to a certain extent, Gigi. The good thing about the Steam Deck is it gives you an off-computer version of your Steam library. So you have two different ways to access that game. Whereas with the Switch 2, you're right. I do definitely agree the price for both, astronomical. Nintendo was great when it was run by people who were passionate about video games. Now that it's being run by businessmen who prioritize profits over their player base, not so much. That I agree. You downloaded demos of Donkey Kong, Bonanza, and Kingdom Hearts 3 on the Nintendo eShop. You wonder how you'd do with them. Hey, go for it. That sounds great. The loss of backwards compatibility in consoles these days drives me mad. Yeah. The people who run the companies are already rich and have plenty of money to live very comfortably, but it's never enough money. Yep, and that is why the Bible itself says the love of money, not money itself, the love, the prioritization of money is the root of all kinds of evil. It leads, it gets to the point where you're like, never enough, never, you know, if you're not careful. And so, you know, it's one of those things where there needs to be, I wish we could go back to the days where there was more backwards compatibility. And now it almost seems like I almost feel the same way about the card games that I enjoy playing, like Magic the Gathering and Pokemon and Digimon and things like that. If you want to remain competitive, you have to be like dishing out lots and lots of money to keep up with the current decks. Same applies here without backwards compatibility. And the loss of it. It's just it's a somewhat hard world to be a gamer in right now because the games are so expensive and it's become one of the most expensive hobbies. Steam Deck with emulator, you get your back catalog in one spot for all consoles. There you go. So backwards compatibility, Caitlin, is when a newer console allows you to play games from the previous version of that console. So, for example, the PS4, if like the PS4, there were some games when the PS5 came out that you could play the PS4 version on your PS5. Or with the Wii, you can play GameCube games. And they built in little slots for you to plug in your GameCube controllers so that you could play those games. That's what backwards compatibility is being able to play older games on a newer console, essentially. But yeah, and it's like it was a beautiful, beautiful feature. And it was a feature that, yeah, it kept people from buying the latest and greatest for the most part. But by the same token, I almost wonder if these game companies also saw the way that people rush out for, say, the newest iPhone. Even if the new iPhone is only a year or two newer, there are people that will go out and buy the latest and greatest iPhone. And so I almost wonder if maybe the game companies saw that and were like, ooh, if we remove backwards compatibility, we'll have people flooding our doors for the latest and greatest of our console. Because eventually, we're gonna make it where, we're making it where these games aren't gonna play on the newer consoles. So you're gonna need the latest and greatest if you want to be able to play any other games, like any of the newer games. And people are gonna be willing to, pay these exorbitant prices to be able to play the latest and greatest games that strike their fancy. But that's why I love Steam. Steam has done a great job of being there on the great, they have higher prices when the game is first released, of course. But what I love is especially specifically the Star Trek Voyager game. They had a release weekend price, a release weekend discount that you could get it at. And they have sales throughout the year. You add something to your wish list, it'll let you know when it's come down in price, and you can be like, okay, it's coming down, down, down. All right, now I'll buy. I love it. Right? Steam sales are amazing. Picking up full release titles for under £10. Exactly. Can't think of one physical shop you can go to buy console games anymore in Ireland. Oh man. We have one here in the States that we love going to. In fact, Sol and I went just this last weekend and I got Final Fantasy 15. Still haven't had a chance to watch that video. I need to. Yeah, I don't have plans to invest in a PS5 anytime soon either. Because it's one of those things where I'm not a big fan, honestly, of the controller. I love the look of the PS4 controller. The way it fits in my hand is perfect. I love it. And they redesigned the PS5 controller, and I'm like, not a fan. But I am also interested in a Steam Deck. That is very interesting to me. And I'm keeping an eye out for a good potential buy on that. If you find a good buy on it, let me know, Sol. Alright, you guys, let's go ahead and go into a time of prayer. If you have any prayer requests, please feel free to use the One Channel Point Redemption Please Pray For Me, or just type them in chat. I'll look up partway through prayer to make sure I don't miss any. And then we will dive into the world of Collar X Malice, followed by possibly some Indiana Jones. You had a game store, but now it's gone. No more queuing up for midnight release. Those days are gone. Yeah, yeah. I remember those days. While you guys are typing in prayer requests, I'm gonna give my thoughts on that, because I remember the days of the midnight release, both for games and for books. And those are gone. And that's so sad. And even movies used to have like a midnight release every now and then. And that's gone. And it's like, man, that is such a sad, sad state of affairs. You know? Like, yeah, it was part of being it was a part of the industry. It was a part of the, like, what it was like to be a gamer. Was your job, it was to, you know, essentially, like, be there for the release of your favorite games, you know? It really was, and that was absolutely sad, you know? Like, that was part of it. You got it, Soul. You got it. Were you able to get some good rest over spring break? We'll give it a couple more minutes here for any other prayer requests to come in. And while we do that, I am going to make sure that I still have that one page up. There we go. Let's see. And then I need to make sure. Oh, okay. Gotcha. I'll need to do a Google. Aw. Well, we'll definitely pray over the biopsy and the hairballs, and that you're able to get some good rest tonight. I can totally see where that would lead to less sleep. Unfortunately, that kind of comes with the territory of being stressed. Wish it didn't. That address updating your real ID at the DMV and transferring your Medi-Cal from one medical company to another will be smooth sailing, and that you'll find a day program that you like. All right, you got it. All right, I will look up partway through prayer. Feel free to keep adding requests as they come to mind. I'll look up to make sure I haven't missed any. And let's all go ahead and close our eyes and bow our heads. Dear Lord, thank you so, so much for who you are and how much you love us. How you sent your Son to die on the cross for our sins and rise again on the third day. I pray that you reveal yourself to us more and more each and every day. I ask that you be with Soul, Lord, that you give her rest, Lord, that you be with Evie and help her to not have as many hairballs. I ask that you be with her dad today as he goes in for his biopsy. Let there be negative findings, Lord, of cancer. No findings whatsoever, Lord. And if there is, Lord, that it be early stage. Lord, I just pray for peace surrounding this whole thing, Lord, that they're able to get answers quickly, that he's able to recover quickly from the side effects of the biopsy, Lord, that you help Sol as she's going through classes, that she's able to understand everything, Lord, that you just give her peace, give her calmness, Lord, that you give her rest that she needs so that she can be there for her dad, be there for herself and the others that love her. We pray for Kirby, that you help with this transition with Real ID to her new address, that she's able to get her Medi-Cal insurance stuff all squared away, Lord, and that she's able to find a day group that she likes that fits with her likes and interests and personality, Lord. That anything transport-wise, maybe, that goes well. I pray for Sol's friends that need to know you, Lord, and for my friends that need to know you, my friends and co-workers. Soften hearts that need to be softened, open eyes that need to be opened. Remove the scales, Lord. Give them a heart of flesh versus the heart of stone. I pray for anybody who's lurking. I thank you for them, Lord. I ask that you be with them. Anybody who is not here today, Lord, I ask that you be with them. Be with all the amazing Christian streamers here on Twitch. I think today STL is undergoing surgery to correct the heart issue that was found, Lord. I pray for quick recovery for him, Lord, for a successful surgery, that he makes it through, Lord. That you just remove those headaches, Lord. Be with Pastor Dustin and everything he needs to get done today. Be with Lotu and her family and give them a miracle, Lord. Be with Bearded Beowulf, be with Wolfler and Zelda and Jesus Hype and all the other amazing Christian streamers. Kishu, Spark, Ladyfoes, Adafoes. Just a little spark, Lord. I just ask that you draw us nearer and nearer to you each and every day. Be with Kayla and Kat. Be with Casey. Lord, I just ask that each and every one of us, you draw us nearer to you and reveal yourself to us more and more. Give us a great time of fellowship today. Anybody who is struggling physically, whether illness or injury, I ask that you be with them. Be with Mad Mama's farm as she drives. Get her home safely. Be with his little kitty. Anybody who's struggling mentally, I ask that you be with them as well, Lord. Let us have a fun time. Thank you for the great conversations so far, and I ask that continues, Lord. In your name I pray. Amen. Oh, and I also pray for, for Gigi, Lord, that you be with his mom who just got a breast cancer diagnosis, that they're in a waiting period for what they want to do next. That as he's her power of attorney, Lord, that you give him wisdom. Your word says if any of us lacks wisdom, we should come to you, and that's what Gigi is asking for, is wisdom to know what is best for his mom. Give him peace, give him comfort, Lord. thank you that I'm pretty sure his mom knows you, Lord. But that doesn't negate the fact that there's still sorrow in there, Lord, that the ones we love aren't with us as long as we would like them to be, Lord, but that there is that hope that we have. And that's what Gigi is asking for, is just wisdom, peace, and comfort, Lord. I pray for Mama Breach, aka Breach, who just lost her grandpa. Lord, that you give her comfort. Let her feel your peace, comfort, and presence today. And in your name I pray. Amen. All right. We are going to go ahead and pause the music. We are going to bring up our game. Turn that on. Okay, that is good to go. We're going to start with some Collar X Malice and to finish up the ending that we are on. And then we'll go in to some Indiana Jones. Let's pull up our game screen. We don't need to update. We're fine without an update. Anytime, Gigi, anytime. Oh, somebody invited me to play a game. I wonder if that was my cousin. I'm just not on my Switch as often as I probably should be. And amen. Glory to God for that, for sure. Alright, let us load this one. While we headed to the station by taxi, Sazazuka got me up to speed on everything. The insight about Akito in the video chat, the song data sent to Kazuki and Ishiki, how he analyzed the data from the website that Akito led him to. He told me about all the Adonis secrets that he'd found, including my caller's data. Are you guys able to hear everything okay? Sazazuka turned to his side and closed his eyes. Soon I hear him fall asleep. You don't hear anything at all game-wise? Okay. He must be really tired. He passed out almost immediately. I listened to his rhythmic breathing as I looked at the collar in the case. Let's see. Okay, so we should be able to hear... My guess is I need to adjust this to that. Because you should be able to hear a car driving. Let's go to a line. Somewhere where there's a line we can hear. Okay, let's see if that does it. Slight sound? Okay. So then I'll turn up the Elgato. Put it kind of mid. Good morning, Minagishi.
そっちの準備はどうです？各捜査員は9時までに捜査本部に集合をかけています。
Ads starting in just a minute, you guys.
犯人側の抵抗も予想されますので、特殊部隊や自衛隊へも要請済みです。アジトが割れた以上、あとは向こうが逃げるのが先か、こちらが捕まえるのが先か。
Alrighty, is that better now that I've turned it up? It's a race against time.
ええ、その通りです。もうじき捜査会議が始まります。先に本部で詳しい話を聞かせてください。
Unfortunately, no, I don't think they've translated this into English as far as the voice acting. But, if I could, I would. But alack and alas, I don't think that... The investigators leafed through the data that Sasazuka gathered. All of the investigators are obviously surprised as they read through it.
皆さん静粛に。これより緊急捜査会議を始めます。では、高枝警視総監、お願いします。
While the investigators all lined up, the police chief glared at the materials.
まずは詳しい説明を、笹塚君。
はい。
Sasazuka is called upon, and everyone in the room immediately turned and gave him their attention at once. But he stood up without even showing a hint of being tense as he walked to the whiteboard.
サイバー犯罪対策課の笹塚健です。配布資料の説明の前に一つ皆さんにお伝えしたいことがあります。
Alright, I will see you guys in just a minute. Alright, thank you guys for hanging out in that ad break. Right, lots of opportunity for good voice acting there, especially with not having to match mouth flaps and everything needing to be perfectly timed. That is a good point, Soul, because you would have, because in anime, typically, and sometimes even in games like this, but in games like this especially, they don't have the mouth flaps to match like they normally would. And so that leaves enough, that also helps the translators as well, because they don't necessarily need, they're not necessarily as constrained as they can be in anime, where the mouth flaps are moving and they may want to be able to convey something in a certain way, but the mouth flaps don't let them. So they have to find another way that conveys the same thing while still fitting the mouth flaps. Yeah, the audio mix in the game is a little bit weird. Background music is so faint. Here, let me see if I can fix that. There we go. I can turn that up a little bit. Because we had turned it down because it was originally a little too loud compared to the voices. So we'll see if that helps any. Just upping it a teeny tiny bit.
犯罪者を擁護するつもりはありませんので、誤解せず聞いていただきたいのですが、X レイ事件における各月の実行犯たちには一部被害者という側面もあると思われます。すでに逮捕された相田学をはじめ、各月の実行犯には復讐の動機こそあれど、それを実行するだけの力も機会もなかった。殺意を胸の内に秘めていたにせよ、おそらく何事もなければ復讐を果たすことなく生活を続けていたことでしょう。アドニスという組織はそこにつけ入り、交換殺人というシステムを作り上げた。自分が手を汚さず殺せてしまうことが本来ならば実行に至らなかったはずの復讐の引き金を引いた。
Good. Yeah, that is a good point too. It's a lot more nuanced. And I think that also kind of stems from the fact that they are able to convey things in a visual novel format that they aren't always able to in anime with the mouth flaps. Yeah, go for it. Feel free, friend of Sam's. I'm just gonna say friend of Sam's because I'm assuming you're a friend, maybe family member.
そして代償として自分が手を下す相手は名も顔も知らないような他人。両親の呵責というブレーキは弱く、逆に復讐相手をすでに殺してもらったという事実がアクセルを踏む。
Exactly, because the mouth flaps, you know, between the way that they might make an ah, ooh, you know, like the way the mouth looks, because it's not even necessarily 100% just the fact that the mouth is open, it's the shape that the mouth is in too, to where that also kind of limits them in what they're able to, like what words they're able to use. You're Sam's sister. I apologize in advance if I butcher your name. Is it Karine? Carrion? The transplant went okay, had minor complications, but overall it was good. She's out of it on the road to recovery. Been instructed to strictly focus on recovering. For now, you're restricting her online activities till she feels okay. Or more like you feel she'll be okay to do that and hopefully be able to recover as well as expected. You got it. Lord, right now we just bring Sam before you. Thank you that the transplant went okay, Lord, that even though there were minor complications, she made it through. And even just the fact that the complications were minor is a miracle in and of itself, Lord. So thank you for that. I ask that as Sam recovers, that she doesn't push herself too hard, that you help her to remember that it's okay, that she's still recovering, even if the recovery takes longer than she thinks it should. Thank you for this update. Thank you for her family updating us, Lord. I ask that you just continue to heal her and just keep bringing her and her family closer and closer to you. Amen.
理性の枷となる部分を人に肩代わりさせる。こうして成り立っているのがアドニスの交換殺人です。
When I heard it all detailed, it made me realize how horrifying the system was. Sasuzuka looked at the faces of the investigators and sighed slowly.
今お伝えした通り、交換殺人は自分で手を下さなかったからこそ、一見罪の意識が薄くなる仕組みです。 だけど時間が経ち、事実が染み渡るにつれて、それを後悔し始める実行犯もいる。
Hey, how's it going, Dreamer?
この資料の元となったデータの提供者、セラ・アキトもその一人です。
セラ・アキトといえば現在指名手配をされている少年だったな。
はい、俺に接触してきた彼は独自にアドニス内部の情報を集め、第三者で断罪されることを望みました。
I totally agree, and I am so glad it was only a power supply issue. Like, it's a decent sized issue, but it's not as bad as it could have been. It wasn't like it was RAM or the motherboard or anything like that. I am so glad for that. So glad for that.
おそらく個々の事件を罪に問うだけでは不足。このシステム自体を叩き壊さないと意味はないと考えたのでしょう。信憑性を疑う方もいるでしょうが、直接言葉を交わした自分はその意志を信じたい。
Sasuzuka started explaining the data that he had decrypted. I followed along with the copy of the data I've been provided. According to this intel, Adonis has their main hideout near the east exit of Shinjuku. There was an abandoned construction site there that housed the entrance to their hideout.
組織構成員の規模は
不明です。ですが本部であれば武装した構成員の数も少なくはないと思われます。
捜査員の危険が予想されるのであれば、体制を整えてから突入するべきではないか。
Another difference that could contribute to the voice acting, you think, might be the pacing. The actors are able to deliver their lines, however sounds most natural. With animation, you're also limited by the total length of the episode, too. Not just the individual lines and mouth movements. That is true. That is a good point, too. And I think I kind of lumped the mouth movements and lines into that because it's part of that runtime of the episode. But you are correct that video games, I'm literally just sitting on this line. He's already read his line, however sounds most natural, but I'm able to kind of pause that game, or I'm able to kind of just let it, play that way. And bada boom. Like, we're not limited to a 20-minute, 25, 30-minute episode.
いいえ、ことは一刻を争います。なぜなら
Sasuzuka looked around and said this with a fearless smile.
警察内、よりはっきり言えば、おそらくこの中にアドニスとつながっている者がいるからです。
His direct statement caused murmurs to ripple through the crowd.
各所からよりすぐったこの捜査本部に内通者がいると
Right? Well, oops.
そうでなければここまで奴らの尻尾がつかめなかったのはおかしい。
I mean, he does make a good point on that. This whole thing has been going on for the better part of a year. Like, nearly a year. Well, maybe not quite a year. Maybe like half a year. But you know what I mean. It's been going for a while. So the fact that they've been unable to get any real leads into Adonis and unable to catch all of the different perpetrators wouldn't make sense unless they had somebody on the inside telling them this is our process.
ごく一部ですが内部データにも内通者の名前が載せてありました。察したのか、もう逃げたようですが。
Sasuzuka looked at some empty seats and returned his gaze to the police chief.
自分からは以上です。アドニスを潰そうと思う。
Ooh, that's a good point too, Dreamer.
他にありません。
Is his plan real or not? Or is he casting a net to see who he catches as the mole.
こうしている間にもアドニスの連中は逃亡準備を図っているはずですから。
Sasuzuka returned to his seat, and the shocked gazes turned to Police Chief Takeda. The police chief folded his arms with a frown and thought deeply.
総監、
ああ、分かっている。今が責任を果たす時ということだろう。各捜査員に次ぐ我々はこれよりアドニス本部への強制捜査を行う。敵の激しい抵抗が予想される。
The driving guitar adds so much to
機動
this.
隊と連携し心してかかれ。
Like, I almost don't want to leave this song because it's so good. The investigators saluted and began to leave the room.
所轄は交通課、地域課を中心に協力を要請して周辺を封鎖してください。
Minagishi gave out detailed orders while Sasuzuka walked up to the chief, who was wiping his forehead.
高枝警視総監、以前のお約束についてもう一度お話しさせていただけますか。
銃刀法の件かね。
Okay, the camera will go no block 15, live broadcast at 11.
はい。アドニスの本部を摘発するための情報はこうして。
Oh, the camera will go on a block 15. There we go. And now we have our press conference live at 11.
多少の取りこぼしがあったとしても、これで事実上 X レイ事件は解決に導かれるはずです。
The police chief squinted his eyes at Sasuzuka's defiant attitude.
返事の前に一つ聞かせてくれ。何がここまで君を動かしたのだ。
And you were picturing the raid. Yeah, that's a good point too. That's a good point too.
一つは自分自身が銃社会の恐ろしさを知っているからです。自分はアメリカに在住していた際、母を銃撃事件で失いました。だからこそ
We have like the camera there at 11, like managing and looking and making sure everything's okay, and then you hear one of them go, breach! Psh! And then they raid. I like your thinking, Dreamer.
一般人に銃を持たせることなく成り立つこの国のことを誇りに思っています。
そうか。
そしてもう一つは
Sasuzuka suddenly stopped talking and looked over at me.
泣かせたくないやつがいたからです。
Police Chief Takeda wouldn't know what he meant, but I jumped at that statement. The police chief thought about it for a second, and then smiled.
わかった。私の一存でどうこうできる問題ではないが、約束だ。政府その他関係各所に働きかけよう。
Really?
もともと銃刀法の解除については警察内でも意見が分かれていたのだ。犯罪への対抗手段として銃を規制するのではなく銃を配るなど警察を侮辱しているも同然。
Thank you! Thank you, my amazing mod squad!
政府からの不自然な圧力がなければ皆この状況を良しとはしなかっただろう。
なら信じてよろしいですか。
世間で弱腰と叩かれようと 私も警察官の一人には違いない。
Dave! Good morning, good morning! I believe it. There's something about lowering that banhammer. And the gigantifying of the emote. Dangerous road, this interaction? It could be.
久方ぶりに己の正義にかけて君との約束を実現させるために動くとし
How you doing, Dave? Hope you're doing well, my friend. I bowed to the chief as he walks away, and I felt genuinely relieved. Yay for eventual sleep! All the love to you too, my friend. Sleep well. Praying over your continued job hunt. Vacation in 5 days? Yes! I love it. I love it. Oh man, you deserve that vacation, dude. You totally deserve that vacation. The collar that held my life hostage was gone. Adonis's hideout had been discovered. And Police Chief Takeda also promised to help repeal the Swords and Firearms Control Law. Things were going so well that I almost thought I was dreaming. At this time in 5 days, you'll be almost halfway to your destination. Yes! May your vacation be restful. May it be fun. May it be everything that you hope it to be. Now.
おい、ボケっとしてんな。まだ全部終わったわけじゃねえ。これからこっちは首輪を含めて諸々の解析作業があるんだからな。手伝い。
Yes. What should I do first? I'm doing well. We had a computer power supply issue last week, and we were, took a few days for all of that to get resolved. But now that it's resolved, I've got my computer back, and I'm excited. Class is going well. I was able to use my computer hardware class knowledge to correctly diagnose the power supply issue. And work is going well. Spending lots of time with friends and in the Word. And just absolutely loving life. Mole in police building. You're not the only one who knows the other shoe's gonna drop, right? Exactly. There's gonna be some other shoe that goes bing and hits them all over the head. I am too, Dave. I really am too. I was like, oh man, when Dad said it could be the motherboard, and then I started thinking through it could be a bad RAM stick, I was like, oh please, Lord, let it be the power supply issue. Let it not be RAM, let it not be the motherboard. And I was right. It made it just so much cheaper and easier. That reminds me, I need to run to the bank so that I can get the money to pay Mom back because she paid the repairman because she was at the house when he came. Because I was at work. Aw, Cozy Bear! Galaxy Bear Cozy, I love that one! I need to tell Queen that I love that. 2 days after the assault on Adonis headquarters, the Metropolitan Office dispatched their entire force and arrested many of the Adonis members. Power supply tax! Aw, thank you for the biddies! You are so awesome! Ooh, I can have that emote? I can has? Bits and emotes? I like those! Dave's here. I have to do an I like those at least once. Right? I got to use that knowledge from class, like, in the middle of class. I knew exactly what to look at, exactly where to start looking, different troubleshooting things. It was perfect. Now we gotta pressure Queen into streaming. I love it. Yes, we do. You got me a gift sub. You're the best. You are the best. Thank you, Dave. You are the best. And we gotta get you back into streaming too once vacation's done and all that. It really does build confidence. But as the police feared, all of the members they found had their memories erased, just like Manabu Soda. Oh, I play that reverse card and share it back to you. Heck yeah, you do! The executive level members had already fled and they'd wiped the data from the hideout. Fortunately, they weren't able to completely erase everything. Because of the quick strike against the hideout, some evidence had been left behind. Sasazuka's cybercrimes team and many other investigators had been poring over the data day and night. Amidst that, Akito was taken into custody during the raids, and like the others, he was found in a state where he'd had his memories erased. Not only was the memory of Adonis gone, but he barely even remembered Kazuki. Oh, poor Kazuki! You just need evenings where you have the house to yourself and you can do temporary setups. Those are few and far between, unfortunately. Yeah. It'll happen. It'll happen, my friend. And it'll be probably easier once you get a new job, maybe, and you can have different working hours. Maybe? Maybe? You never know. I hope so too. I really do. This historic stream. Blah, 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 blah. I can English. Right, poor little brother. Hey Soul, is this another Tim the Terrible Typist? Because the grammar at the beginning of this sentence leaves a lot to be desired. Right? I felt so bad for him reading that. I'm like, dude. Poor Kazuki. Like, I'm not even feeling bad for Akito, because Akito, you know, like, yeah, it's hard having your memories wiped, but at the same time, I'm like, he clearly, you know, like, part of me feels bad for Akito, but more of me feels bad for Kazuki. Right? Words are hard. Words are hard, especially when Tim the Terrible Typist pulls this. This historical string of crimes versus this historic string of crimes in Japan seemed to finally have come to a conclusion. However, the police still had far more work left to do. Shinjuku was now moving to lift the quarantine. They're collecting all the distributed firearms. Shinjuku citizens have been told the reason, and the police are assisting those still in fear. Right, he's grumpy enough as is. Can you imagine having to go tell Kazuki, hey, so, Kazuki, we arrested your best friend, and, he doesn't remember you. Or at least he only barely does. I'm sorry, dude. Can you imagine? A cop's job is never-ending, and the people who were involved still suffered scars. Everything is not back to normal yet. I'll do what I can. What I do will not change from now on. Excuse me.
お、星野じゃん。どうした？お前まだ勤務中じゃないのか？
Yes, I came to pick up some materials because Sazazuka asked me to.
そうか。お前も大変だな。
There's my best boy! Like, I love Enomoto. Enomoto is like, he has pure precious cinnamon roll puppy dog vibes. But I am super excited to play Yanagi's route. Not at all. Sazazuka is much busier than I am. He said that he needs to dig through the data, so he's working without rest. I really wish he would just take a break. Take a break! Come away with us for the summer, let's go upstate! I remembered that we had a small argument about that subject this morning, and I made a sour expression after recalling that. I'm really worried about him, but he refuses to listen to me. Well, not that that's any different than usual. I wish he would depend on me a little more. I complain, but Yanagi and Enomoto just look at each other and simultaneously erupt into hysterical laughter. What is it?
いや、
だってお前、ワカメの母ちゃんみたいな顔してたからさ。
That's not true!
母親というよりは嫁の顔だったぞ。
You too, Yanagi?
まあそう怒るな。お前たちの活躍のおかげでもうじきこの新宿も元に戻るんだ。大したことをしてやれなかったのが悔しいが感謝してる。
Yanagi?
あ、終わりよければ全てよし。ワカメのおかげだと思うと尺だから、星野のおかげだと思っとくぜ。
Alright, I'll tell Sazazuka that.
いや、伝えなくていい。そこは流しといてくれ。
I laughed at Enomoto as he grows pale, and Yanagi turned back to me with a new resolve.
星野、俺たちは警察官じゃない。今後は捜査にも関わることはないだろう。それでも、もし何か困ったことがあれば、いつでも声をかけてくれ。できることなら協力くらいはする。
そうだな。ちょっとの間とはいえ、仲間だったんだし。また気軽に遊びに来いよ。なんならデートくらいしてやっても。
Aw, Enomoto, pure puppy vibes. Huh?
榎本、笹塚に殺されたくなかったら、その口は閉じておけ。
ういっす。
We talk like we're friends. I can barely even imagine the way we were when we first met. I'm happy that we can laugh like this. It's a bond that was created from the collar. That may sound terrible out of context, but I'm actually glad I met them due to the collar. All's well that ends well. Enomoto is right about that. Galaxy! Thank you for the lurk! I express thanks to my wonderful friends and leave the office to discover the materials that Sazazuka had asked for. Again, Tim the Terrible Typist not remembering his grammar. Because he goes from, I express thanks, therefore present tense, and left the office, past tense. So he should have said, I express thanks to my wonderful friends and leave the office to deliver the materials that Sazazuka had asked for. There we go. This has been Grammar with Donna. After that, time just seems to fly by for some reason. Right? Tim the Terrible Typist really suffered throughout Sasuzuka's route for some reason. I agree. Poor Tim. Sakuragawa. How can we be busier after the X-Day incidents are over than we were during them?
はいはい。笹塚が今日明日会議で留守だからって文句言わないの。せっかくのクリスマスイブだし、イチャつきたかったのはわかるけどね。
Sakuragawa! That's not true! He's overworked and underpaid and unappreciated. It's just a perk of being middle class and educated one. Spinning circles in my chair. I was just hoping that the situation would settle down soon.
ま、あんたには同情するよ。
I love that you know that Mark Schultz song. That makes me so happy. Eating my troubles?
の、星野。次はこの書類、地域企画課に持ってっといてくれるか。
It really is. It really is one of his classics. And what was hysterical is that at the time that that song was released, our worship pastor's name was Ross. And so every now and then, like, we were so tempted just for kicks and giggles to get him one of those My Name's Not Ross shirts. Just for kicks and giggles, even though his name was, we were so tempted just to give him that shirt for as just like a random present. Yeah, I didn't think I would be spending New Year's at work.
そんなお前には、俺が先輩から受け継いだありがたい格言を教えてやろう。
Right? It hits so much harder as an adult. It really does. It really does. Because, like, the spinning circles in my chair, when a game of solitaire, all the things that he lists. Like, I'm driving, I'm late for work, I've spilled coffee on my whitest shirt, I'm trying to do multiple things, you know, like, your attention says divided, like... Oh man. Thankfully, I have yet to have my boss call me by somebody else's name. But... but everything else hits so different as an adult. That's a sad tradition, says Ichika. Although Adonis had been dismantled, everyone was still slightly fearful deep down, and that makes sense, because you've literally spent months under this whole thing. And now, all of a sudden, you're just expected to go back to normal? No, that's gonna take time for normal to settle back in. No new incidents occurred even after New Year's, and our busy work schedule hadn't slowed down. Oh! Minagishi, Happy New Year!
おめでとうございます、星野さん。
Seems like we successfully prevented X-Day. We managed to reach New Year's.
それもあなたを含め捜査員全員のおかげです。ということで、よろしければこちらをどうぞ。
Coffee?
お年玉代わりですよ。今年もよろしくお願いしますね。
I'll take that New Year's gift. I'll take coffee, free coffee, any day of the week. He gave me caffeine, but I'm pretty sure that he needs it more than I do. In the end, we continued to work hard through the new year. There were many people unable to visit their families for the holidays because Shinjuku was still under quarantine. We have to work to lift the quarantine for the sake of those people. In order to achieve that, we had to gather more material evidence so that everyone was finally convinced that Adonis was no longer a threat. There was so much work to do after the incident because we had to sufficiently prove that the city was now truly safe. Even if it's the higher-ups who make the final decision, our work can speed up that process. I couldn't be complaining now. Oh yes, the part about being overworked, underpaid, and unappreciated. The other part that's all too real is 4 o'clock and I stare at the door and I stare at my watch and I stare at the door. I stand by my desk like I'm going to war. There's just one thing that I'll be needing, grab my paycheck as I'm leaving. That's a good point, because like I know for me, the closer I get to the end of my shift, the more I'm like, alright, 5 minutes to the end of shift, you know, things like that. I definitely can feel that line, for sure. I persevered for the next month or so. Disbanding Investigations HQ?
ああ、もともと捜査本部は事件解決とほぼ同時期に解散するのが通例だ。今日まで残ってたのは事件の特殊性と後処理を考慮した特例に過ぎねえし、配布された銃の回収も進んだからそろそろお役御免って判断です。
I see. I knew this day would come eventually, so I couldn't say that I was surprised. Although it was kind of inappropriate, it made me feel just a little sad. If Investigations HQ is disbanded, you'll return to the Metropolitan office, right? I guess we won't be able to have lunch together like this anymore. Oh, but we should go drinking from time to time, as long as that's fine with you.
Ichika.
Sasazuka?
向こう向いて目閉じろ。
Huh?
いいから早く。5秒な。4、3。
Okay, I turned. They're closed. Is he gonna propose? I heard a snicker, possibly because he didn't expect me to actually listen. And then... Oh, a necklace! This is... Sasazuka reached around from behind me and placed something on my neck. It was a silver necklace that had a pretty cute design. I looked at the head of it and it glinted in the sunlight. Huh? Huh? Seeing me confused, he spoke to me with a voice that was blunt but
本
bashful.
当はクリスマスにやる予定だった。けど、忙しくて渡せなかったからな。
For me?
首輪がなくなって首元が寂しいだろ。あとは、まあ、なんとなく。
It's cute. Are you sure I can really have this?
お前にやるために買ったんだ。気に入ったなら大事にしとけ。
Of course. Thank you so much. I feel so happy. Even if we are working at different places, I think I won't feel lonely. It's reassuring. I said that with a big smile, but Sasazuka turned away. Sasazuka?
なんでもね。それより信号変わるぞ。急げ。
Oh, yes.
本当にバカだな。お前。俺言い出せなかったじゃねえか。
That was the last exchange I ever had with Sasazuka. Minagishi filled me in later on. Sasazuka hunted down the traces of Adonis and found that their remnants were planning another terrorist operation in America. Great! He was the first to volunteer to be among the dispatched to investigate it. I suppose he was just showing me his own type of kindness by not telling me about it. Or perhaps I was just unable to gain his trust as his partner. Even today, I looked up at the sky while I play with the necklace he gave me, like an abandoned cat with a collar. The end. Aww. I can totally see why you would want to hunt down the official release of that necklace. It is so pretty. So pretty. Alright. That, we're going to switch over to just chatting for a second. That was Caller X Malice. What were your guys' thoughts on that while I get everything all set up to switch? I absolutely loved that route. I definitely agree that I'm not as big of a Sasazuka fan as I am like an Enomoto and Yanagi fan. But I definitely can see why he has his fans. And he definitely grew on me throughout. And so, Soul, you were right. You were right. Sasazuka grew on me. It'll be interesting to see if Shiraishi grows on me the way that Sasazuka did, or the way that you say he will. That'll be interesting. Because you still want me to do the bad ending, right? Because that was probably not like the... Like, it probably wasn't the, like, fully good ending. But it also wasn't, like, the worst ending. You don't know if he'll grow on me per se, but it'll be interesting. Alright, well, we'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see what happens, because he's next on the list, right? Let me check my note on that. Yeah, the tragic love end. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Which was the first one that I got on Enomoto, right? Oh, Okazaki's next. And then it's Shiraishi. Okay, I'll see about that. Yeah, I'll definitely go back and get the others on our next playthrough. Yeah, because I want to see all the different endings. I love seeing all the different endings. The tragic love end, I want the true end. And then I guess I'll have to purposefully miss one of the shots because that way I can get the tragic ending. Oh, alright. I promise things will smooth out here in just a minute. I know I pulled up the Indiana Jones game. Things will smooth out here momentarily, I hope. And I'm going to check and make sure on a certain setting, thanks to all the videos that I've been catching up on that Soul sent me, because there was some stuff that I was not fully and completely aware of. Yeah, it's not just you at all. It's the, oh look, Donna opened up a GPU heavy game. Let's see. Does it even have? Okay, I don't think it does. Okay. Let's see. Reason number 5 here, retro only, totally fair. Okay. Let's do that. We'll turn down a little bit. Okay, so that should be good. Okay. Alright, you guys, I am going to go ahead and go into BRB real quick because I need a quick bio break. Actually, you know what? Ads will be here in about 7-ish minutes. I think I can make it. So, we'll switch over our category, making sure that we are good. Go to the game screen and we will make sure. Oh. Let's turn that off for now. Do that, and then that, and that. We're gonna give it until the ads hit, and then I'll just make it an extra long ad break. So we need to get to the tent. Go away. Go away. There. We're here at the excavation of the laboratories for... Oh, he big mad. Yep. Alright, so what's this one called? Atonements? There we go. And then... I really like IGN as far as their ideas and playthroughs and things. Alright, so let's go ahead and... There we go. So we got that. Okay. So we're gonna grab shovels. Ah, I've alerted them to my presence. That's okay. That's okay. We're on the right track at least. That is the important thing. So we'll just hang out here a minute. Swing! The majority of Playtime Poppy takes place in a humongous underground labyrinth that borders on a city. It's got offices, play services for kids, and places to live, the whole shebang. Oh, wow! That could be interesting. That definitely could be an interesting look, depending on if, you know, like if it's a more dystopian society kind of thing. Okay, so that's fine. I can live with this. You don't think I'd survive that game? Alright, I trust your judgment, soul. Alright, so we'll wait for him. Okay, so when he... More Spooktober type thing? Gotcha. We wait for him. Laura's really nasty. That's good to know. That is definitely good to know. Alright, we're gonna pause while I take a look and see what they recommend next. Ah. We'll see if this works. Nope, it didn't. Okay. Alright. At least we have the right idea now for that particular part. Alright, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and take my bio break real quick because ads are going to be starting here in just a minute. So, you guys enjoy those ads if you can, and I will be back in just a couple minutes. All right, we are back. Thank you guys for waiting. Hopefully the ads have come and gone. Let's give it just a minute to settle back in as far as how VRAM heavy it can be. Oh, and we probably just lost our game. We might need to switch over to Voyager for the last little bit. Because even with all the stuff that I've attempted to do to try and make it less VRAM heavy, we're still having some encoding issues. So we'll go ahead and stop the game. I'm gonna switch over to Star Trek Voyager. We'll go with Across the Unknown. We tried. Sorry, guys. It just was not wanting to do its thing. Like, at all. There we go. Let's see, I don't think I started a new one. I don't think I did. I'm hopefully picking up where we left off last time. Yeah, we get to be Captain Catherine Janeway of the Federation starship Voyager. Hopefully it works. Right? Me too. Me too. Well, darn. The thing I was sending to a friend is delayed. So fly to the marked destination in the third system. Well, you know what? I need to get more tritanium anyway. And I wonder... There we go. You wonder if the Vorsoth will make an appearance? Dark scavenger aliens who build their might off of stolen tech. Ooh, that's a good... That is a good question. "70,000 light years from home. It seems we're in this together, Commander. Your decision didn't win you any friends. Kazon, Maquis, and Starfleet. But I respect you for it. Their anger is justified, but we have more pressing concerns. 2 crews, 1 ship, stranded in the Delta Quadrant, fighting for survival. I know a thing or two about survival. The Maquis are a motley crew. We had to learn to put our differences aside and work together. To coexist." Okay, so we're not starting over. We are picking up where we left off. Good. Coexist, Commander, I'd like to offer you the position of Voyager's first officer. First officer? You're willing to trust a Maquis with that responsibility? I'm learning to adapt. This is a new beginning, a chance to forge a new path. Together. Then again, it might not. It's the bad guy of Alexander Monroe of the Hazard team. Oh, okay. Neelix, Kess, you wanted to see me? Do you need anything else before you leave? Supplies, water, medicine? Well, that's what we wanted to discuss. We'd like to go with you. Before you say anything, Captain, we both very much want to be a part of your journey. I can offer you so much in this sector, Captain. Need a guide, supplies, contacts, and a cook? Oh, you haven't lived until you've tasted my anglabasque. But more than that, Captain, I can be your morale officer. Keep those smiles bright on this long voyage home. I have a feeling you'll need that. A guide, a cook, and a morale officer? That's quite an offer, Mr. Neelix. And what about you, Kess? What do you hope to gain from this journey? I want to see the galaxy. There's so much out there I don't know. So much to explore and discover. Perhaps this journey could help me understand my own telepathic abilities better. Learn more. Develop them. But I also want to help. After the doctor cured my wounds, I realized I want to help people too. Maybe I could learn from him, assist in sickbay. I think the doctor would be glad to have you. Very well then. Welcome aboard. Captain? You might want to see this. Looks like we've stirred up a little trouble. In a good way, I think. Unexpected guests. A sudden distress call reveals Voyager's victory over Jabin sparked a mass escape from the Kazon slave camp. Janeway wastes no time ordering the desperate survivors to be beamed aboard. Neelix is surprised to find another Talaxian, Exhibian, who was captured while exploring the Ocampa landscape. Gratefully joins the growing crew of survivors seeking the doctor's care. Alright, everybody listen up. Ooh. Alright, chat. 1, 2, or 3? 1 is a speech on overcoming differences and uniting as one, which is kind of where I'm leaning. 2 is stand strong as one crew and defend ourselves. 3 is unite, explore the unknown, and learn, which is my second place. But it's a toss-up between 1 and 3 for me. But I can be persuaded. I can be persuaded to see 2 as well. Same with 1 and 3? Okay. If you had to pick one, which one would it be? Yeah, saying the same thing but probably go different ways. You're leaning more towards 3? Okay. Okay. I can be persuaded on that. Yeah, that's valid. That's valid. Because 3 seems to be about, yes, unite. We're one crew. But we're also in a new area that nobody has ever explored before, so let's take advantage of that and learn and grow. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go 3. We're alone in an uncharted part of the galaxy, ripe for scientific discovery. We face the unknown with open minds, eager to explore and learn. To survive, we must work together as one crew. Learning helps you overcome differences, so that is true. Ooh. I'm thinking 2. Explore, but duty calls us home. But I also like the chart new territories and seek solutions. Yeah, you're voting for 2. We are far from home. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm leaning 2, but I can be persuaded as far as 1. Yeah, 2 it is. As the only Starfleet vessel in the Delta Quadrant, we'll continue to explore, but our primary goal is to find our way back to the Federation. 75 years is unacceptable. Yeah, 1 is a very, very close second. I feel like in this particular one, 1 is kind of more what I'm leaning towards, but I can be persuaded to go with 3. Because 3 is more about, let's analyze what we have here in the Delta Quadrant that might be able to get us home, and we can innovate a new way home. Whereas 1 is more about, let's use what we have and adapt it to reach home. That's kind of the impression I'm getting, is that adapt is more like 1 is more about let's use what we already have on hand and adapt it. Whereas 3 says let's analyze what this quadrant has to offer that can get us home quicker. True, because if they adapt, they can adapt it to what's in the quadrant. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, because it's a mixture. It's use what you have, but also adapting to what's also in the quadrant. Like adapting it to what's in the quadrant that we can use. Let's go with 1. We'll seek out shortcuts and new technologies. We will forge alliances and confront those who stand in our path. We will adapt. We will prevail. We will not rest until we reach home. Well spoken, Captain. Mr. Paris, you've proven yourself a skilled pilot and a valuable member of this crew. I hereby appoint you as our flight control officer. For the first time in my life, I don't know what to say. Perhaps a state that you would like to embrace more frequently from now on, Lieutenant Paris? Lieutenant Paris has a nice ring to it. Hey, Harry, I bet your own promotion is just around the corner. That did not age well. Poor Harry stays an ensign the entire series. Maybe we can fix that in this game. Justice for Harry Kim! He literally spends up until the last episode as an ensign. That aged poorly. Oh boy, imagine becoming captain one day. Or imagine me becoming captain one day. Very well, gentlemen. As your first official act in your new position, Lieutenant Paris, set a course. We're flying home. Ooh. Leaving the sector will cause all active missions to be cancelled and all heroes currently marked as unavailable to be lost. That I don't know, Dreamer. I have yet to read the whole book series. I don't think we have anybody on a mission at the moment. But just in case, I think we'll stay here and make sure we're good as far as crew. Hey, hey! Right? Way to up the stakes. I'm like, I don't think anybody's on an away mission at the moment. Huh. Ooh. But I'm like, just in case, we should probably make sure. Ooh. I guess that. Oh no. 100%. Oh, we have full storage. That's why. That explains it. Because we have full deuterium. That one's full. Germanium's full. I guess since we know now that there's nothing there, let's set a course. Sector 2. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That does sound like Paris. At first it didn't. Now it does. Aw, Shay Sandrine, I remember that from the series. Fair enough. Fair enough, Tom. Mr. Neelix, do you have any recommendations for edible plants? Plants? Ah, yes. There's a lovely little L-class planet close by. Lush vegetation, abundant wildlife, and it's almost perfectly safe. Right, yep, that's Paris, alright. Kitty, thank you for the lurk. Here's your hydration. Thank you, thank you. Almost. That's reassuring. Mr. Neelix could accompany the away team and provide first-hand guidance. I'll second that. Lieutenant Paris, set a course. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to announce our new chief engineer. Lieutenant Carey, you've kept engineering running smoothly during these past few weeks. Thank you for that. I'm happy to serve, Captain. However, the Delta Quadrant requires someone who can improvise when Starfleet protocol fails. Miss Torres. But Captain, I've been a loyal Starfleet officer for years. She's Maquis, a criminal. You're out of line, Lieutenant. My decision stands. Dismissed. Miss Torres, or should I say, Lieutenant Torres, I know we got off on the wrong foot, but I hope we can work together, or learn to work together. Fine, I'll keep your ship running, but don't think I'll forget it was you who got us into this situation. I trust you'll handle engineering with equal determination? Don't worry, Voyager's in good hands, Captain. You'll have assistants. Commander Chakotay highly recommended both Ensign Seska and Crewman Jonas, both Maquis. Well, that's not so bad. At least I'll have someone to rant about Starfleet regulations to. Don't worry, B'Elanna. We'll find ways to adapt to Starfleet. We always have. Ah, Seska. You're a real ray of sunshine. Anything you need, just say the word, Lieutenant. You can count on me. Just do your job, Jonas. That's all I need. You start right away. We're reaching the L-class planet, and we've got plenty of work to do. Ooh, 11 cycles away? Where are we? There we go. Oh, there we are. Yeah, you'll get up to date on some of the stuff that you missed, for sure. We're just gonna scan all the things. Hey! Get Tritanium! Yeah, well, we can build 2 in 39 sectors. That's totally doable. Totally doable. Hey! Critical success! Woot woot! There we go. Perfect. Hey, I'll take that. Alright, so now let us go to the ship. Because now we'll be able to repair that. And we can go into these 2 rooms. That should be good. Alright, so now let's set a course. Fair enough, fair enough. Alright. What do you mean, no available work team? There we go. Alright. That's fine, that's fine. Our shields and weapons systems are inadequate for the threats present in this sector. If we are to navigate this quadrant safely, I recommend immediate enhancements. And we'll have 40 cycles to get that done. Question is... I think we have a combat room. Yeah, we'll get more help as the game goes on. And that's part of the fun of this game, is that you're literally making all the decisions that a captain would make. You get to figure out, okay, how much, how much emphasis should I put on housing for the crew? How much should I put on upgrading the ship? Who do I send on this away mission? Things like that. I feel like making a new combat room might be the better route. So 4 cycles remaining there. Okay. Captain, we've reached our destination. Orders? Let's send Neelix. We'll send Tuvok. And then it might be good to have somebody with medical knowledge. But it might also be good to level up one of our other people. go with Tom. Captain, we've arrived. Half the crew must be down here. How should we proceed? Ooh, let's see. Yeah, I feel like he would probably know more. Neelix quickly identifies the delicious-looking apples as poisonous and the strange roots as safe and nutritious. The away team gathers a bountiful supply of food. We received your signal about the ship in orbit, Captain. Ensign Seska is missing and we can't locate her combat signal. Orders, Captain? We'll spread out and look for them. Critical success! They discover an abandoned berry bag near a cave, a promising sign that Seska was here. We're hearing voices inside the cave. Orders? They're both fatigued. We could hide and just let them pass. I don't necessarily feel like we need to get ready for a confrontation. Hey, how's it going, Mama Belle? How's settling in at the new place going? Yeah, let's hide and let them pass. We'll take a little more passive approach. The team blends into the shadows, avoiding a Kazon patrol. Questioning the Kazon presence, the team hurries to find Seska. We're inside the cave, but no sign of Seska. Got a touch of a head cold, Biscuit's dealing with elevation sickness, and you move in on the 4th. Aww. Well, I hope you guys feel better. Like as in 4th of next month? What's the plan until then? Let's see, so we have 14 plus 17. Yeah, new climate and altitude. That makes sense. That totally makes sense. There's literally no reward. I guess we'll try and locate her comm badge signal because that's only 8 out of the... Like, that'll take him all the way down. Actually, it'll take both of them all the way down. The newly transmitting signal guides the team directly to Seska's hiding spot. Relieved, she recounts a Kazon ambush while gathering mushrooms. Another Kazon patrol. We're taking heavy fire. Oh boy. It would be good to get some more of the tritanium or whatever it is. But I'm worried that it's gonna take... I'm worried that that's gonna be... Because the risk level is just too high. We'll do a strategic retreat. Rest and catch up on sleep until the 4th. There you go! There you go. How long did it take to drive all the way out there? They make it back! Yay! One apple-like fruit and weird roots. Yes! We did it! The away team is back with Ensign Seska and quite a haul. Should we move it to the cargo bay? I appreciate Neelix's enthusiasm, but I'm concerned about the long-term viability of these food sources and their actual nutritional value. Simply having a lot doesn't solve our problem. A valid point, Commander. We'll have the food analyzed in the science lab. Okay. There's still 4 cycles remaining. Alright, where's our... What do you mean, no life support? There's the cargo bay. Phaser controls. We'll need to upgrade eventually. Upgrading that warp core to level 2. That's the shuttle bay. Drove about 12 to 13 hours on Friday, stopped for the night in Amarillo, drove about 8 to 9 hours on Saturday to the hotel we're living at now. There you go! Wow! Were you and Mike able to kind of share the load of driving? Because that is a lot of driving. We need to build a new combat room. Because I don't think we have one. Can I get another work crew? Can I build another one? Oh, okay. Assign new teams at the engineering office. Okay. So let's... add another work team. And one more, maybe? And then we can... get those guys working on that. So that way we've got that. He drove the U-Haul. You drove your personal vehicle with both kids the whole way. Oh, wow. That is a lot of driving. I am proud of you guys. Okay, so we need... Can we make a third? Huh. Okay. Well, I guess we will... set a course. We'll build crew quarters. Missing technology? What are you talking about? Huh. So we can't exactly do that. We've got one work team taking 8 cycles. We have 50 of that. What missing tech are we? What are we missing? Tech required to build crew quarters. Star Trek Voyager, because I don't see where it's saying what I'm missing. Oh. We need to power the workshop. Where's our workshop? That's the engineering office, science lab, cargo bay. Alrighty, sounds good, Mama Bell. Love to you guys. Hope you guys get to feeling better. Huh. Currently no available blueprints. Okay. So we have our workshop. research component. Currently no blueprints available. Huh. Interesting. So we'll turn that into that. We got nobody. I don't understand. Let's see. Let's take a look here. Oh, is that where we research? Is in the science lab? Oh. Let's cancel that building then. Why? Why is it offline? And why is there not enough energy? Oh, available is 9. Okay. Now do we have? Yes. Okay, now we have enough. Oh, great. We're gonna take way too long. I should have realized I needed to be doing the research. Hey, we got more! That makes me happy. Um... Okay, so let us go to the ship, to the mess hall. Activate replicator rations. Maybe? Maybe that's what it is? Okay. Alright, soon as he is done with his researching, what do we need as far as... Okay, so that's not full. We can set a course. We'll use a phaser. That's fine, that's fine. How many more does he need? Okay, and we have activated replicator rations. Okay, so that's good. We have 2 available. Ruined rooms, okay. 2 emergency quarters. Let's focus on repairing life support for now. Alright, let's go ahead and save, because it is 11 o'clock. Which means I'm getting hungry, and it is time for me to go get lunch. So let's see who all happens to be on the line at the moment. Hey, how's it going, sunshine? Let's see. Of course, of course. Let's see. I get the feeling that Kat is probably getting ready to end stream, but let's go ahead and send the love to Kat. I hope that you guys have a fantastic day. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. We're going to be doing a collab stream with his little kitty, playing some Stardew Valley. Because we were going to do that last Saturday, and then my computer decided to act up. So, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. So good to see each and every one of you. I love you. God loves you. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Here are your raid messages. If you are subbed, here's that. If you are not, here's your message. See you guys tomorrow, and always remember, God loves you, and so do I. Bye!